Captain, I'm putting together a list of candidates for the Sacramento promotion. I'd love your input.
May I just say I am very sorry if I ever treated you with anything other than admiration.
Oh, shut up, Ransom. You're such a suck-up.
From now on, I'll make sure to give you special attention.
No, be as hard on her as you always are.
Yeah, be hard on me.
I'm only hard on you when you make me hard. I mean, I'm not hard right now. I mean, I could get hard if I wanted to, but I'm not hard right now. I'm so sorry. You're both great.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast. And I am one of your hosts, Johnson, and with me is Mike. Mike, how are you doing today? How has your week been?
I'm good. I'm great. Thanks. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm exhausted. This week has been crazy. It's like been nonstop work, social events, recording this podcast. You know, it just goes on and on. The list just goes on and on.
Yes.
But, here we are, and we are excited to talk about the last two episodes of Lower Decks. And these are, again, the last two episodes of the season one. We're really excited to go through it with you guys. And then after that, we are going to be going into 13 weeks of Star Trek Discovery. How are you feeling about that, Mike?
I've got mixed feelings, to be honest. I am sad that we don't have another episode of Lower Decks to look forward to because I really did love the comedy of the show and kind of the lightheartedness. And it was just fun to have this world, this animated world back in the 2280s, in the 80s, as they often refer to it. They call it the 80s. But I am super excited about Discovery. It's been a long time
coming.
Yeah. So,
and then after Discovery, who knows when Prodigy or whatever is coming.
Prodigy has gotten a little bit more excitement.
Yes. So why don't we? That's actually a perfect segue into our first segment, which is what did you Star Trek this week? So, Mike, what did you Star Trek this week?
Well, I mean, we had New York Comic Con, which we didn't watch a lot of because it was happening during working hours, and there really wasn't a lot of announcements. But the one announcement that was really exciting was that Kate Mulgrew, Captain Janeway herself, is joining the cast of Star Trek Prodigy.
Yeah, I saw the news break first, and then I slacked you, and I was like, I did the best I could to scream at you over Slack. And I was like, Mike! And I pasted the link, and I was literally screaming. And
you were very excited.
I was very excited.
That translated well through Slack, believe it or not.
I really want to articulate my excitement. And look, I'm actually not the biggest Janeway fan. I think she's great, but she's not my favorite captain personally. But it was just so unexpected that I was like, because especially the way that they described Prodigy, I think back on Star Trek Day, when they were kind of, the quick synopsis was this ragtag crew of young Starfleet officers or whatever find a ship. Or I don't remember all the details, but it was all right, whatever. It's for it's YA. It's it's for kids. And then I was like, Captain Janeway is going to be on it. And then it just added on this extra layer of essentially what it was authenticity to it, and also connection to the larger Star Trek universe, that I was like, whoa, that's so cool. So I am very curious as to how they're going to make that connection. Is it, we know that I think it's post Voyager, pretty sure. And it wouldn't be pre-Voyager, would it? That'd be interesting. But they said that there's definitely a legitimate way that this all connects together. So I am very curious as to how they're going to make it happen.
Well, and this show, Star Trek Prodigy, is definitely more kid focused. The tone is going to be completely different. So it's not another Lower Decks. It's not another animated series. So it really is directed
it's animated. It's CG. It's like CG or animated.
Okay. Memory Alpha says it's going to air in 2021, which we kind of knew that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's exciting to it's great that that'll be maybe that's the tie into the larger Star Trek universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting to have Kate Mulgrew back in Star Trek again. So what's next? Benjamin Sisko, maybe? No,
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Though.
I don't think he's. I think Avery Brooks is done with Star Trek.
Well,
unfortunately,
it's too bad. It's really too bad.
Yeah, that was the main news. Obviously, we got some Discovery news, which we talked about in the Discovery preview. When you hear this, we will have talked about episode 1 already. So I, over the last couple of days, have been watching a little more Voyager season 5 now, and I'm enjoying it. I did skip a couple of episodes in early in the season, but I just finished watching today, in fact, Timeless. This morning I watched the second half of Timeless.
That was a great episode.
Yeah, 100th episode. Harry Kim and Chakotay in the future. Yeah, the Doctor finding Voyager underneath tons and tons planet. Of ice. And so just shy of the Alpha Quadrant is what it's said. I'm enjoying this crew. It's just more Star Trek, when you're picking the episodes you want to watch, it's just fun to get back into it. So that's pretty
so
much
you're still picking and choosing the ones that you're
watching. I mean, I'm going chronologically through Voyager. So I with the exception of when you said, you should go back and watch this episode, Mortar Coil with Neelix, who died and came back to life.
Spoilers.
I am just going through, and if I am interested in the description, then I watch it. So I've watched Night, I watched Drone, I skipped Extreme Risk, I watched In the Flesh, which was the 8472 kind of recreation of Starfleet Command, and then I skipped
Boothby.
Boothby.
That's interesting.
I skipped Once Upon a Time because it's a shuttlecraft crashing on a planet episode, yawn. And then I watched Timeless. So I don't know. Although the next one is Infinite Regress, so it's about Borg technology.
7 episode.
It's a 7 episode. So I'm gonna probably watch that one next. But I think I'm going to take a break from Voyager, obviously, and kind of go back and watch the Discovery finale.
I need
from
to watch
season
this.
2.
It's been so long. I don't remember. I remember there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening that I remember, but there's definitely some details that I do not recall.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all I've been Star Trekking this week. What did you Star Trek outside of Lower Decks this week?
So outside of Lower Decks, I've still been going through my Enterprise rewatch. I am watching every episode chronologically, and I am into season 4. So I got through the entire Xindi arc.
Okay.
So they saved Earth. And now I'm watching Cold Front, which is parts 1 and 2, which opens season 4, which finally brings the temporal Cold War to a close. And I still cannot really tell you what the temporal Cold War was about, because I don't think they even knew. Now they're in World War II time period, so the 1940s. Obviously, things are not as they should be due to the temporal war factions doing whatever. Things are off. The Nazis have invaded America. There's a little bit of a Man in the High Castle feel to it. Yeah, I'm not done. I'm still watching. I'm watching Cold Front Part 1. So. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll finish episode 4, season 4 in the next month. Okay. It's kind of like my I'm not gonna watch. Let me just watch it. I thought the Xindi arc was good. It didn't. it never reaches the heights of, you know, the Dominion War. Like if you want kind of like a long serialized arc that is some sort of like war or something like that, like it never reaches those heights. There are definitely a few sound episodes, but yeah, overall I thought it was okay. I am excited for season 4 of Enterprise because that's when Manny Koto takes over and he does these like many like mini arcs. I don't know if you recall, like you get into the background of the Vulcans, like you get into like there's the Mirror Universe episode. Like there's some cool ones that I'm kind of excited for. Because this is the season where they really tried hard to make the connection between Enterprise era like developments and then TOS.
TOS, right?
Because a lot of people were complaining like, you know, where's the connection? Like things are so different between like what you guys are doing story wise and where we end up with with how things are in TOS.
And speaking of TOS, since you referred to that a couple of times, I love that Ransom calls that out.
I was like, what? And then
finale,
the original science officer or something.
The original scientists or the old scientists.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
like I was like, so funny.
Yeah, so that was funny.
But
because he says the TOS era, and she's like, "What's the TOS era?"
Yeah,
the original science or the old scientists. Yeah,
yeah. I don't remember exactly what he said, but that was funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really all. And
how is? Are you continuing Millennium?
Yes, but at a very slow pace because there's just been so much going on outside of that, including off-topic stuff, which we'll get to.
Okay.
So yeah, but that's all there is right now.
Okay, that's a good transition for us into spilling the track.
It was an honor serving beside her. As a mother, it was a privilege to call Mariner my daughter.
Wait, what?
So, episode 9, Crisis Point. Mariner repurposes Boimler's holodeck program to cast herself as the villain in a Lower Decks style movie. Johnson, what did you think of Crisis Point?
So, I liked Crisis Point. I don't know if I loved it, but I really liked it. It was different. It was, and I said this about, I think, episodes 7 and 8 as well. I think that, maybe they got into this groove where they're like, all right, let's like change up the formula. Let's try to do different things. And this was, again, a great example where they just did something that was very different. Not your typical episode of Lower Decks, which I really liked. There were just, this is obviously like a love letter / make fun of letter to all the movies. Honestly, part of the joy of the episode is just catching all the Easter eggs that they were kind of throwing in into the episode. Whether it was like the flyby shots of the Cerritos and they're just circling it. For no reason.
Yep.
And it's like, all right,
the opening the Enterprise homage from the motion picture was big on that.
That was great,
as well as the kind of the view that Kirk and Bones had in the Kelvin timeline of the Enterprise, like looking up and at the Enterprise. So kind of a dual purpose there for that kind of shot.
Signatures at the end. That was Undiscovered Country. That was great. Obviously, as you mentioned, the JJ lens flares.
A lot of lens flares.
There were a lot of lens flares. The music was like more orchestral. Like, it was like bigger sounding than usual. Like just small touches like that. That were just, all these little tiny throwbacks, all these little tiny Easter eggs to the movies. But at the same time, I do think that they did a really good job kind of delving more into Mariner and, her psyche and personality and why she is what she is. And her
it got dark there.
Yeah, it got dark. I mean, like, there were definitely a few moments when, when she was like just killing everyone where I was like, this is like a little weird, like, and for her, it's obviously some form of therapy. But to us as viewers, I was like, oh, this is like, actually, even though everything's animated, I I didn't like, when she like vaporized Ransom or like blew up Shax. Like I was like, oh, this is like, kind of weird. But and Tindy was actually, Tendy was the one that I was like, yeah, this is weird. I mean, I'm out of here. This isn't you, like this is bothering me. So there was some recognition that she's probably going overboard with the simulation. But I do think that we got a really good view of, how she thinks and why she is what she is. So yeah, I thought that was great. And then honestly for me the biggest gasp moment was at the end when Boimler goes back in and then he finds out that Mariner is Captain Freeman's daughter, and I was like, gasp, but I was very surprised. And it also, because the whole season, I know that we've talked about this here and there, but I was like, do people know, like, how can you keep this a secret? But apparently, like no one knew. So but yeah, overall I thought it was great. I think for me it was really about the Easter eggs. It was about Mariner's storyline, the review at the end with Boimler. But yeah, no, overall, like it was really good. What about you? What did you think?
I mean, I enjoyed it. It did get a little too dark for me at points, with the killing and just this really strong feeling that she hates her mother. I think that was interesting, and the whole idea that she's in therapy for this.
What was the doctor's name? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember the doctor's name at all.
Paul F. Tompkins.
Oh, okay. Is it? That's interesting. So that is the co-host of the Pod Directive, the official Star Trek podcast.
Yes, you're correct. Which I have not
okay.
listened to yet. So
I'm continuing to enjoy it. Actually, this week's was Mike McMahon. So that was
okay.
I really think that it went overboard a little bit. I definitely was cringing at certain moments in this episode. And when you mentioned the lens flares, you probably heard in my voice, dear listeners, that I'm not a huge fan of all of the lens flares. So yeah, I mean, I did appreciate and really enjoy the flybys of the Cerritos, and also which you probably haven't done yet. I would watch the Ready Room for the finale. So there was a Ready Room episode. So that was good to see that. So yeah, it was fine. It was a decent episode. I think, there was definitely a lot of homage to the movies, which I both enjoyed and laughed at, and thought it was good. But I think the overall story about Mariner's dark side was a little disconcerting to me. But
it did go to just a dark place that I don't think I was ready for. Even though everyone's animated, I wasn't ready to see all of them die in horrible ways,
she clearly has some anger issues with her mom, and which, it's nice to see the change in the finale, which we'll get to. I too was surprised, one, that Boimler went back to the holodeck and restarted the program, and then went to see the captain give the eulogy.
Right.
And then also, what is kind of frustrating to me is it was clear that she did not want. She made it, like, the captain made it so clear that if anyone had found out about this, she would have, like, she was going to be really upset and severe with this. And so I am shocked that by some of her reaction in the finale, but I'm also shocked that Boimler kind of took it to that level. And also, as a minor point for that, well, that's in the finale. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Well, Boimler in the finale, he is just talking to Mariner about it. He doesn't realize his comm badge is on or something.
Right. And I that's what I was just going to say, but which we can talk about, which I guess since you brought up, unless he taps the comm badge,
I know.
How do they hear? Yes.
Oh my God. I was like, no, he didn't touch it.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So anyway, so there's that. So I was kind of surprised that, one, he even said anything given the captain's reaction in the holodeck. Like, you kind of see in the preview for the finale, after you've watched episode 9, you see the preview of the finale, and it's clear that Boimler's kind of like saying to Mariner, "Oh, I know your secret." And you're like, why would you do, like, after you seeing the captain basically threaten the life of anyone who knew this beforehand, why would you say anything? But so that's, Boimler is too much of a kiss ass, or didn't pay attention to that bit of it, and should be frightened of ever letting it be known that he knows that. It was a good episode. I still struggle with the darkness of it because it's a little much. And I don't think that it's resolved, although she does eventually save her mom, and she does achieve catharsis through this process, which is great for her as a character and her development. But I think it was just a little bit much for me. So that's episode 9, Crisis Point. And then we've already started talking about it, but let's get into the finale, No Small Part.
Red alert! A Packland party and I wasn't invited?
Yeah, so Mike, you start this time. What did you think about the season finale?
There were a lot of wow moments in this for me, like wow, whoa, like oh, like a lot of reactions like that, exclamations. Like the first whoa was, did they just blow up a starship?
I know, that was a big deal because it was the same crew that they had saved like a few episodes ago, right?
Yeah, right. So on a brand new starship.
Brand new starship, and then they just blew it up, and all hands lost. I was like, whoa, did that just happen? So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, that was dramatic. So that was the first whoa moment. The Lantru throwback, like I like that it actually started out with Freeman and Ransom, and doing a little bit of throwback to the TOS, or the old scientists, which I or whatever it was. The old scientist. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I did like to see the dynamic of them on the planet. Again, interesting that the captain was down there. She's done a lot of away missions, so Ransom is definitely no Riker in the sense that he doesn't keep the captain on the ship and do all the away missions if she wants to do them. So it's definitely a different dynamic there. We obviously talked about it, like the comm badge going off and then being able to hear, and then it gets all over the ship. So that is
that bugged me for sure.
I've watched this episode twice already, and I've enjoyed it. I still enjoy it, even though with all these wow moments and the Packleds coming back and the mention of Titan. I didn't know anything about this episode. I I don't do spoilers or anything like that. So just the fact that they mentioned, the Titan's in the area, they can they can go check it out, and they're like, no, we're gonna do it. And so they go. The Cerritos goes and finds out Sylvain is been destroyed by this Packled vessel, which and the Cerritos gets the crap kicked out of it.
My gosh, they were getting cut up. It felt very Borg like, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way that the Packlets have essentially been assimilating technology, and even the way that they were cutting up Cerritos with like a laser beam or whatever.
Yeah,
it felt very like Best of Both Worlds kind of.
But so we talked about the Sylvain being blown up. It's interesting because the captain here, Freeman, decides not to go to warp once they have the warp nacelle. So she makes the opposite decision that the other captain made, thus saving her ship, which I thought was an interesting opposition. And
I just thought that the captain of Sylvain, I don't recall her name off the top of my head, but she's just kind of, and also in the episode where, her ship basically turns into one of the jellyfish aliens. She's kind of just, in that episode, she was having a meltdown, if you recall. Like, she was like literally like freaking out. And she had no idea what to do. And, you had to have Mariner and her friend save the day. And then this episode, she's also kind of just like very silly. Like, no, I mean, if it was my bridge, I would be like, no shoes on the bridge, like that, but that's me. But she was like, take your shoes off, like things like that. She just seemed kind of like silly. But at the same time,
she's not a strong captain. She's not a strong captain.
But it did surprise me that, yes, that they basically killed everyone that you saved only like a handful of episodes ago.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously the first officer, even in that scene, the first officer, like the captain is thrown off balance and doesn't know what's happening, and it's the first officer who says "Red alert." Not a strong captain, not a huge loss of a captain, but the crew, obviously, it's sad to see that. So I was shocked by that. But yeah, the Pakleds tearing apart the Cerritos, the virus. So we haven't even gotten to the Tendi and the Exocomp that
there's
is
a
a
lot
new.
packed in.
I have to go back and watch the origins of the Exocomp on the Ready Room. They did tell you what episode that's from.
The quality of life.
Yes.
Was it season 3? Was it season 3 episode? Maybe season 4?
Maybe. So I do want to go back and kind of see that. But I also think that if she were a recruit for Starfleet or Starfleet, the captain could have ordered her to do the mission. So
instead, she was like, "Bye, Felicia," and then she just left.
She transported off on her own, and then the return of Badgie, which I wasn't that excited about. To be honest, Badgie is not a favorite. Not really happy about that.
And then Shaq's dying.
That was shocking.
That was very surprising, but I wasn't really hit emotionally by it at all. I mean, like, the thing is, like, we haven't gotten to really know Shax. He's kind of just been a background character. So I was actually quite surprised that they killed him, but there wasn't any sort of emotional resonance, when it came to that.
I mean, that was like an moment, like a wow moment for me. Obviously, it brought back for me Tasha Yar vibes.
Someone mentions Armis. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yep. So, I mean, it's definitely interesting that, and they'll have a new security chief next season. So, Mike McMahon did say that. Obviously. Okay. So you do need to watch the Ready Room. You got some good tidbits in there. Nice conversation about it. Rutherford gets the crap kicked out of him, and his thing is ripped out, and he's lost his memory.
Like, dang.
So that's kind of sad. And then obviously the big exciting part of all this was the Titan comes to the rescue.
I know. And Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis have a cameo.
And a Saurian as his first officer, it looks like.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, Linus species, Linus from Discovery, the same species, sitting to his right and in the first officer chair. So that was interesting. Yeah, it was great to see the Titan. Obviously now that's kind of canon. That ship and the crew are canon now. And Boimler gets promoted to lieutenant junior grade and gets to go to the Titan. So
I know that was, I think, one of the most interesting things to me, because it totally shakes up the dynamic for season 2. And I'm just wondering how they're going to deal with this. Are Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis going to recurring guest star because now he's on the Titan?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, they can find some roundabout way to get him back on the Cerritos, but I don't know.
So they said they're not going to do that.
Oh, okay. I need to.
So they did share that they're not going to do that. So Boimler is definitely promoted, and he's on the Titan now. And there's and Rutherford has no memory, so there's all these kind of question marks. They need a new security chief. The Cerritos is being rebuilt. We're gonna season 2 is kind of gonna start fresh, and Mariner and Captain Freeman are gonna work together.
Yeah.
So, which I think will also create an interesting dynamic, a different dynamic. So I wonder if Ransom's going to get a little jealous, because typically the way that Mariner acts would be more like a first officer, getting stuff done. Although she's an ensign, so she's can break any rule. How are they going to demote her further? They're not. So I thought that was really cool that they're going to work together. And we're still left with the question of why. Well, and I guess we still have that in Discovery season 2. Why different ships wear different uniforms?
Oh yeah, no, we talked about this. It bothered me so much. Did Mike McMahon say anything about that?
No, I don't believe that there was any mention of the uniforms. So
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
wondering.
that bothered me a lot. Like I did not understand
Hmm,
why the crew of the Titan was wearing the like DS9 era
yeah,
uniforms, and then you had this crew wearing completely different uniforms. And we haven't seen any like first contact DS9 era uniforms up to this point in Lower Decks, other than the flashback.
other than the flashback, yeah.
Yeah, that
So-
Mariner has to when she was
On that other
she was on
that
DS9.
on the Olympic class starship, which is
Yeah, so I thought that was so odd. I just
Yeah.
I don't understand. That bothered me a lot. And then yeah, once Boimler is assigned to the Titan, he changes into that
Yeah,
uniform. So
uniform.
I did
He
not.
does keep the red, which is interesting. So he's still in. Unlike when Mariner got promoted, she went to the yellow uniform, which is kind of a throwback to when Geordi got promoted. But
Yeah,
uh,
but he is still command division. So I thought that was that. I thought that I did not understand. I did not get that.
but I think I think that was built up in the episode because Mariner suddenly started acting differently
Mhm.
when she realized that there was a promotion available to the Sacramento. And Ransom said very clearly, Boimler, you're so clean and so you're so promotable, but
Mhm.
how do I not promote the captain's daughter?
Right.
So he's definitely been in line. He's definitely done enough to be promotable, and hence why he's recommended to Will for the Titan. So which was.
Oh yeah, I didn't have any
was-
issues with the promotion. My issue is still with the uniforms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's also nice that Boimler got his dream assignment, right?
Yeah. Because I was very. I really did love the cameo with the Titan because they've been name dropping the Titan throughout the season.
Right, yeah, they have.
So I was kind of.
They name dropped it earlier in this episode. So when they went to save the Solvang.
And then what was the episode? Was it Terminal Provocations? When Fletcher in that episode, which is the Barclay
type character,
like whatever.
Yeah.
He gets assigned to the Titan. I was totally hoping that, we would get to see more of the Titan in that episode once they mentioned the reassignment, but not until this episode do we see it. So
yeah.
No.
So I mean, that's obviously that's a huge props to Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis. Jonathan, who's been in more Star Trek series than any other actor, which is
both
cool,
on and off screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Directed so many episodes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great season finale. I'm sad that the season is over, but it was a great way to go out, and
yeah, it's very action packed. This is an episode that I thought was very good. I didn't love it, but I thought that a lot happened, like to set up season 2. So overall, I really did enjoy it.
There we go. I thought Lower Decks was a great addition to the Star Trek universe.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'm gonna miss it, but we've got Discovery coming right on its tail, thankfully. So no shortage of Star Trek to watch.
For sure. And yeah, overall, I thought season 1 of Lower Decks was a very, very strong season. Yeah, I thought, like there were some ups and downs for sure. And some episodes were definitely more outstanding than others. But I thought that given that it's the first season of a show, I thought that they just did a really great job kind of establishing a tone. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. We got introduced all the way back in Second Contact. We just got introduced to the characters, and we kind of got a good sense of who they were and their dynamics right off the bat. And they grow over time. Like these characters are not static, even though, it's just an animated show. They actually do a really good job kind of growing them, involving them, some more than others, like for sure. But I thought that overall, like, it was funny, like good throwbacks, good Easter eggs, good character development. I thought overall they did a really great job.
Boimler, you backstabbing little weasel. Next time I see you, I'm gonna kick your ass. I cannot believe that you took a promotion to the mother Titan. call me!
Hey, Brad, we got a scoop, so get your boots and strap them up, because the captain wants us to escort Commander Troy to Tolgana Fort.
Ooh, I hear the Klingon district's intense.
There's a bar in Andoria Town you guys would love.
Whoa, you've been there?
Yeah, I can show you around if you want.
Dude, your pad is blowing up. Who is messaging you?
She's just an old friend. She kind of got mad when I took the promotion here. She'll get over it.
Boimler, you can't keep ducking me forever. It is a really small galaxy out there. Sooner or later, I'm gonna run into you, and I'm gonna feed you to an armist. You hear me? Hey, Psycho, keep it down. We're trying to sleep. Oh, shut up, Jen.
Let's move on to some off topic.
Yeah.
Our off topic list this week is pretty extensive, but I'm going to let you go first on this. And I don't know, I'm going to direct you in a way that gives you a little bit more to talk about, which is you video games. So
Yeah.
you're off topic and you made a post today on social media about the finale of one of those games. Which
Yes.
I'm gonna let you take it from here because I have
know nothing.
I know nothing about games, so here we go.
This is a game that I've talked about a few times during this podcast because I mentioned it way back. You were on this episode when I mentioned it, and I mean you never heard of it, but The Last of Us Part 2, which is a follow-up to a game that came out in 2013. And it's essentially, for those listeners that don't know what this game is, it's essentially like zombie apocalypse, it's basically zombies. And it's very much in the vein of The Walking Dead, where you have the danger of the zombies, but it's more about the people, the survivors, and how an event like this impacts the people that are left behind, right? And for The Walking Dead, it's about, people, this is a point you can make about The Walking Dead. Does The Walking Dead refer to the living or the dead? Does it refer to the people that have been, that are dealing with this PTSD, dealing with this new world? Are they really living? Or is it talking about the zombies that are, all around everyone? And The Last of Us is very similar, where it is about the survivors, right? It's about the people that are left behind. And this game, it was like a long game. It was like 20, 30 hours, I would say. I think it was more close to the 30-hour mark. And I like this game. So the publisher is Naughty Dog, which is one of the most renowned American development companies, video game development companies. In existence. They've done some great work, and The Last of Us Part 2 was amazing. Like just the technical achievement, and you were saying even the screenshot that I posted on Instagram, it looked so real. Like they have an amazing art department. There's this one scene where you're on a horse and you're riding through this town that is on fire. And it's incredible. There are people screaming, like buildings are collapsing, and you're running through this town, and you can control the horse, you can stop, but you don't want to stop because buildings are literally on fire all around you, and it's just crazy. It was just a thrilling game, fun to play, definitely scary moments. And then, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a story about humanity. It's about a story about the human spirit, blah, blah, blah. But also this idea as to what living is about. Because the main character basically is on a quest for revenge. And it's about, is that enough? Is that enough of motivation to live for? So yeah, like I'm not gonna get too into the weeds, because this is not a video game podcast. But I think overall it was frustrating. It was thrilling. I thought that it was an amazing game. I was frustrated by the main character and some of the decisions that she made. The thing about video games that's really interesting is that, especially these games that are more scripted and there's a very specific storyline, is that it forces you as a player to play through a game, and whether or not there are certain games that give you more freedom of choice, but there are certain games where they force you to play through these characters' decisions. An example of this would be like, to get through this part of the game, you need to kill this person. And you do not have the option to not kill this person. So it's like, and games have evolved to the point where, you kind of can feel, you can kind of feel the decision being made. And even if you don't agree with it, you can't, unless you decide to stop playing the game, you kind of have to go through with it. And you can feel the emotional impact that decision makes. So games like this, I think, it's interesting that games have evolved to this point where, you can, it's so realistic and so tactile where, you question the morality of actually playing through the story because you have no choice but to carry out these decisions that aren't made by you. So that's one of the things that's very interesting about this game, because I killed a lot of people in this game because I had to. And sometimes there was like no remorse and I was like, whatever. But sometimes it was like, yeah, this is weird. Like, this is a bit of a spoiler, so skip the next 30 seconds. But at one point, the main character kills someone by accident, but this woman is pregnant, So it's like, it's an accident, kind of. Well, she kills her. She like willingly kills her, but then she discovers that she was pregnant. And it's like, yikes, and you were complicit in a way as the player. So it raises all these like moral questions, like, it's very, very interesting. So anyway, so that was my life for the last 2 weeks. I was just playing this game nonstop. I was just fixated. And yeah, like this past Friday and last Friday, I stayed up until 5 a.m. playing this game. And I would basically be going to bed, when the sun is starting to come up. So my hours are all weird, but yeah, so that was one of the things that I was doing the last 2-3 weeks. But it's great. Yeah.
There you go. Wow. So
yeah, I think video games are just an interesting medium because it's interactive, right? Because we talk about Star Trek and we're viewers. We watch things happen. The thing about video games is that you need to be part of the game. It's a cinematic, games are becoming more and more cinematic. But you need to be involved in the decisions that are being made in the game. And there are some games that I think there's actually a Walking Dead series where it's all about branching narratives. So it's all about like, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure kind of style where you make decisions to spare someone's life or to kill them, and that impacts the story for the rest of the game. Whereas something like this is like, there's a very specific set storyline. But yeah, it's just it's more, it's very much storytelling, but it's in a way where you are you are involved in the story, and it's very interesting. So anyway, so that's been a lot. I have still been watching The Boys. You have not watched any of this season.
I have not watched it. I know that the season finale dropped this week, and now all
don't talk about it because I haven't seen it.
How could I? Why would I talk about it when I haven't even watched?
In case you came across any spoilers.
No, I didn't. I did not. So yeah, so I've not watched that. I did give, per your
recommendation
suggestion, your recommendation, I did give Lovecraft Country a little bit of a watch.
Not County.
Country. Sorry, Lovecraft Country. Yeah. And I watched the first 2 episodes. The third episode was this ghost horror story that I could not sit through, so stopped there. I think we went back and watched the 4th episode, but then kind of lost interest after that.
Yeah, the 4th episode is not the best. It's National Treasure. It's like National Treasure. Like they're like
which I enjoy as a movie. I'm a fan of National Treasure, but it's just, this is such a genre blending show that I just don't know what I'm watching, or I still don't really know the whole point of this. Really, there's no like central theme or idea
the central
to it.
Theme is racism.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the whole narrative is about racism, like
Oh,
you know,
okay.
and the horrors that come from racism. So that's really it. And obviously, there's this magical realism of the world they live in, right?
Right.
But all of it is an allegory to racial injustice and how, you know, these main characters as a people, like find ownership of their identity in segregated America. That's
That's
the
okay.
story.
All
Yeah,
right.
because there are later episodes that are, you know, because sometimes, you know, a lot of this is allegorical, but there are literally episodes that are like, you know, what if like a black person can have white skin, you know? There's literally an episode about that. And it's just so interesting. It's like, it's really an examination of, you know, that time and also now, and what it means to be black, you know? So I know you're kind of over it. I know you kind of over it, but and not every episode is, I would say, a home run, but it's really fascinating.
Okay. Well, I'm on the fence about whether I'll watch any more of that.
Sure. Yeah. Fine.
You know, we are enjoying British Bake Off. Season 8 is dropping weekly on Netflix, which is awesome. And then let's see what else. So I've watched half of Boys in the Band, which is
right. Is
like,
it worth it?
It's, you know, you and I talked a little bit offline about this. It's
a movie, right? It's not like a
limited series. Movie. It's a movie on Netflix. It's, I believe, based on a play on a Broadway play. So it's interesting. It's about 5 friends in 1968, 5 gay friends. And so it's interesting. I'm enjoying it for the, once I pieced together that this was a play, just the way that they were staging it, and it you know, essentially happens in this one guy's apartment in, I would say, West Village, New York. So, you know, Dennis didn't like it quite as much because of the way that the friends are treating each other. They're kind of really overly catty and vicious to one another. So that's why he's not interested in it. But we only watched half of it, so I'm going to watch the other half eventually. I did finish episode 5 of Raised by Wolves, so I guess I'm halfway through that.
Yeah. Did we talk about this last time?
Maybe.
No,
maybe. I don't know.
I finished it. It was fine.
Yeah. I did.
We'll talk about it after you finish.
So. Yeah, exactly. Galaxy Quest was on TBS on the app, so I actually got a notification on it because I had put it to my watch list through Apple TV, and so I got notified when it was available to watch. So I watched that one day while I was working, just in the background. It's just enjoyable, you know, everything from the characters, the actors. I mean, I like Tim Allen, I like Sigourney Weaver. The supporting cast is great too. Obviously, you know, one of the characters is,
I've never seen it,
no longer with us, so it's good. It's just good. Fun. It's funny. It's a, you know. I saw that, and then that's pretty much all the TV I've watched aside from Voyager. And then I did listen to the second book, A Symphony of Echoes in the St. Mary's Chronicles, which is about these time traveling historians. And then I also re-listened to Doing Time, which is a spinoff of that series about the time police. So I re-listened to it because the second book in the series comes out on Tuesday. So I'm going to get that and listen to that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've done. And, you know, a little bit here or there. I mean, it's really only like an hour or two TV, or if I'm out walking, a book, or
right.
So it's not a lot, which is why I'm gonna slowly try to make my way through Raised by Wolves and finish Boys in the Band.
It's so slow.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I think I've invested enough, and I do want to kind of see where it goes. Although
the finale is weird. It's out there.
Okay, I'm sure it is.
It's worth it. I think.
Well, you're not really selling it, but I'm invested now. I will eventually get to the end of that. Yeah. I don't know about Lovecraft County, although I think the episode Lovecraft Country, yes, I can't say that. I do think that the episode you mentioned is probably the next one about a black woman in a white woman's skin. That's what kind of is intimated in episode 4, so I might give that a watch. But other than that, yeah, we've got, I'm gonna watch. Obviously, we got Discovery coming up this week, this Thursday.
Yeah, we do.
So that's exciting. So I'm gonna probably pause my Voyager rewatch, go back and definitely rewatch the finale, maybe even a couple other episodes of Discovery before Thursday's premiere. And if you're listening to this, we do have a preview episode that's available in our feed if you want to go back and listen to that. And also by the time you're hearing this, we have an episode 1 recap, and launching at the same time as this episode is an episode 2 recap. So we've got a lot going on. But we are now, as of the end of Lower Decks, and now we're moving into Discovery. You'll see how we kind of transition to real time. We're excited about that. But that's all of my off topic. Do you have anything else for off topic?
The other thing that I'm watching right now is on Netflix, The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh, that just came out.
Yeah, that just came out. So I'm on episode 3 right now. I really liked The Haunting of Hill House, which came out 2 years ago.
Is this a spin-off or a continuation?
It's kind of like an anthology series. So it's kind of like American Horror Story. I know you're not into horror, so I'll just say things that you don't really understand. But it's an anthology series, so every season is different. You get some of the same cast, but they're playing different characters. It's a really good show. I do think that I liked Hill House a little bit more, but I'm only 2 episodes into Bly Manor, so I can't really say. It's a little bit slow here and there. I do think that the one thing that is really good about this series is that they do just a really good job building out these characters. And I think that horror is a really interesting genre. I know you do not like horror, but
I do not.
I think where horror is most effective is when, and similar to in Lovecraft Country, is when it is an allegory of something else. Whether it is the failure of a family, which is very much Hill House. For Bly Manor, apparently it's a love story. And the creator, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was saying how ghost stories are, the ghosts that really stick with you are the people that you've loved in your life, and those that are not with you anymore. And, those people haunt you, like, in good ways and bad. And that's one of the main driving forces of the narrative behind season 2. So I love it when, because there's really cheap horror, which I'm not a fan of, like really cheap, just jump scare horror. But I do think, but I read horror novels too. And I'm really into horror, actually, which I haven't really heard about.
Clearly you are, yeah.
But it's like psychological horror, or when horror is like really, in which case horror is, in those cases, it's a reflection of the human psyche and human brokenness, or in cases where, it's about the faults of society or things like that. I think that horror it's similar to fantasy, actually. Like really good fantasy or really good sci-fi is usually like something that's wrapped up, like repackaged and delivered in a different way. And I think that's when Star Trek is really effective too, when it tells really compelling stories that is a way of delivering a message in a fashion that is atypical, and it forces you as a viewer to kind of think about it, to be like, what is the messaging here? Like, what's the takeaway? And I think that's when Star Trek has been very effective. I love it when I'm scared, but it's not like a jump scare. There's a psychological component to the horror. So yes, so I'm making my way through Bly Manor. I might finish this week, but I also need to finish up The Boys. There's a lot of TV, actually. At least I'm done with video games for the time being. So no more playing until 5 a.m. for now.
Well, how about we spend a few minutes dishing with Deanna?
Sounds good.
Come in. Hi.
You got a minute?
Sure.
Mike, what has been going on with you?
We've been super busy. I mean, work has been
Yeah, you've
busy.
been really swamped.
Yeah, I've been swamped with work, and Dennis has been working a lot this week too. So we did have date night last night. We went to Crispin's for
that's
dinner.
right. How was it?
It was fine. I mean, the food wasn't, as Dennis kind of said, I can cook this at home kind of food. So which is fine. It was good. We had good time. We put down our phones. We don't really it's kind of like just us time. So it's really good. Lately we've been going on date night like every other week. So I think it's an important thing that we'll just need to keep.
I agree. It's really important.
Because we've got so much going on, and we do take out whenever we're too tired to kind of cook. So it's nice to we got dressed up, not dressed up, but we dressed up nicer than normal, not shorts and t-shirt type thing. It was like a sweater.
And you guys ate outdoors, or
we ate outdoors? Yeah. We definitely ate outdoors. It was just a good time. So yeah, the city was certainly alive at night on a Saturday night. So
enjoy it while it's not cold yet. Like really cold, like bitterly cold.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so we had a good night, and but other than that, we're both looking forward to a brief getaway next weekend. But so that'll be good. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on in this neck of the woods. Not a lot of exciting news. Like I said, we've been working a lot. So what about you? What's going on in your world?
Yeah, work wise, it's busy, which I think I need to be thankful for, especially given how things are going. Like I feel really bad for our like Broadway actors, because now Broadway is shut until May of 2021, which is insane. That's like crazy. I feel bad for not only the actors, but also the crew, the background people, like everyone, the technicians, like everyone that's involved in those productions. It just really sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's annoying when we are busy, but at the same time, I think we should be thankful when we're busy, that we have all this stuff to do.
Well, and not only Broadway, but Regal Cinemas is closed now as well.
Right.
So I think when they said,
like
did
500
they say
theaters?
500 theaters are closing, and I think the final nail was that the Bond movie was pushed off till 2021 as well.
Yeah, Bond was moved to 2021. Soul, that Pixar movie, is now going to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
so they're not releasing in theaters. There's just a lot that's working against.
I mean, large and those. Yeah, I mean, given what we've seen on the news and things that have gone on in our nation's capital, I mean, any closed group like in that kind of situation is just, and they were outdoors, so multiply that by worse indoors, and it just those kind of venues just cannot really happen right now, and it's sad for those people whose livelihood that depends on. So yeah, it's really that's a tough situation to be in. So yeah, I'm definitely grateful for the work I have. It's just and tomorrow, we talked about earlier, I am off tomorrow for the first time in a month, where I don't have either of my jobs or anything to do work wise. So I am going to work on the podcast and just enjoy the day. Might get a massage. I might.
Oh, look at you!
I might.
We're gonna get a massage, like a full body massage, or what kind of massage?
Definitely my back and my shoulders for sure.
Where?
Probably down. I mean, just that there's a
place down the street.
On the street, yeah.
Oh.
Why go far if you don't have to?
It's like $40 for an hour or something.
Yeah, something like that. So I think I may indulge in that. you and I've shared you images of that creamery place, so I may actually.
Place. Are you gonna go?
I think I'm gonna go tomorrow.
I'm so jealous. I would totally
know.
go with you.
I know you would, and I actually. So when we talked about this earlier, and it's funny we're recreating our conversation now for our listeners, but I actually thought I didn't really realize that not everyone has tomorrow off. So
it is not a bank holiday. People are
working. Yeah, I mean, so I'm grateful that I have the day off. It is a paid holiday for me. So I'm planning on sleeping in a little bit, and yeah, but my intention is to get done all these editings for the week ahead. The weeks ahead, so that we're kind of caught up.
Oh, I didn't talk about this in off topic, but I mean, I guess I can talk about it now. But I am building a custom glass aquarium.
Ooh.
So for the listeners who don't know, I'm a big aquarist. So I'm into like fish tanks and fish keeping. Right now, I'm kind of in this freshwater phase. I have 2 freshwater fish tanks. But I have decided that I want to go back to saltwater. This happens every couple of years. I flip flop. So I've done freshwater, saltwater, freshwater, saltwater. So now I'm like, I want to change one of my fish tanks to saltwater.
Where does the custom part come in? Are you changing the tank itself?
Changing the tank itself. So right now I have an acrylic tank, which is a type of plastic. The thing about acrylic tanks is that they have really great clarity, but they scratch easily. So I have like a bunch of scratches on this tank that I'm over it. So I am changing it to, and I have this like custom size side table, and it's a very specific size. And I've looked forever for the right fish tank for it, and I can't find it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna build my own fish tank. So I contacted a glass manufacturer and gave them dimensions.
Wow.
Yeah. So they were like a company in Washington State. So I gave them like drawings for the exact glass I wanted. So they cut the glass. It's getting shipped to me. I'm getting it on Tuesday. I bought silicone. So I'm going to actually glue the tank together.
Wow. So, all right. So that's exciting.
I have 6 panes of glass coming. And so I'm gonna, hopefully it's not a fail of a project. The glass is not cheap. The glass is like, because it's custom cut, the glass is like $200. It's not cheap at all. I don't recommend people building a custom aquarium if you don't need to. I only did it because it's such a custom size that I want. Usually I can do a whole like aquarium podcast.
You could. I have 2 uncomfortable questions. Well, one uncomfortable question and one other question. So you had said 6 panes of glass. Like a cube has 6 sides, but you need the top
in the lid.
Oh, the lid. Okay. Yes. And then my uncomfortable question is, what's happening to all the residents of the current aquarium?
I mean, I'll try to just give them away or something.
Yeah,
because they're not worth that much. Like these fish are like $1 or $2 each.
Give them away.
But then that means like people are always like, "Oh, can you meet me somewhere?" I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, it's so much effort. So
sure.
TBD. Okay. So yes. So I'll be doing that. So my hobby is continue to occupy my time.
All right.
And then the only other thing is, I'm like, the only thing that's going on with me personally is like my parents, because they're just old.
But they're coming into the city this week.
They're coming to the city briefly, so I'm just gonna see them. But yeah, a lot of my friends, actually including Dennis, I would say is a good example. Like just aging parents, aging parents were at a point where you start thinking about like how to take care of them. I have a lot of other friends that are dealing with this too. I think it's just getting to a point where parents are just getting old. They need additional care. What is the best solution? So and obviously it's case by case, but that's the other thing, kind of like spending a lot of time thinking about different possibilities, et cetera, et cetera. So,
got it. All right. Well, there we go.
And no dates. There's nobody. No one wants me, but that's okay. So yeah, that's it.
There we go. So if you want to reach out to us and share your thoughts on any of the topics that we've covered, please email us at deepspacepride@gmail.com, or you can reach us at on Instagram and Twitter at deepspacepride. You can DM us or send us a message through any of those channels, and we'll get back to you as soon as our schedules will allow. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you here next week.
Bye, everyone.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com, or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.